Our man's in here. Crocky, what's good, baby?
What's up with y'all?
Crocky, we had done giving up on you, man. What's going on?
Oh man, I'm hanging out, man. Just got done working with some kids, training some kids.
So Croc, let me get it straight. Where do you live?
I live in Arkansas.
Okay, I thought you were in the middle of the country. So you're from Stockton, right? Like
Yeah, you see the Stockton Ports hat,
And then I know you got some big things going on with the facility and stuff like that. And then I was reading the tea leaves, and I was like, "Where was?" I thought you were in Tennessee, but Arkansas is where you at. So when we're coordinating like the times and stuff like that, we got to make sure. I got to put on the Pacific time, all that other stuff. But yeah,
no, you're good. I'm the one that moved away, and everybody that I typically associate with are back west. So when you guys give it time, I assume y'all talking about Pacific. So we're good.
Let's love.
Proper introduction for our man Eric Crocker here, host of the Locked On 49ers podcast. We appreciate you so much for being with us, and one of the best analysts over on Twitter, man. Go give our man Crocky a follow. One big concern is the 49ers gear up for the Seahawks this week, Croc, is the 49ers haven't played a complete game yet. I mean, the closest is Detroit, but that was still 57 minutes, and I think the last 3 minutes kind of shaded our view on that game a little bit. When you watch this team, particularly, the last 2 weeks in the first half, like what's this team missing that they seem to find after halftime?
They're definitely missing that efficiency early on. And it reminds me of, and people kind of forget this, but 2019, they started off hitting on all cylinders on offense. You had the game against the Bengals that really looked a lot like the game against the Lions, where the 49ers just blew them out. I mean, just the Bengals just never came back. But aside from that, the offense in those first few weeks was really clunky. And then they went into a bye week, came back, played against the Browns on Monday Night Football. And from there, the 49ers started clicking a little bit more offensively. And even then, the passing game still wasn't clicking quite well. And then that started to get better after the Emmanuel Sanders trade. So I think a lot of that is what's going on right now, where they're still trying to kind of find their footing. And it almost feels like Kyle Shanahan is trying to find like the rhythm with his play calling. So I assume it'll get better, but there are no guarantees. Last year they started off 2-1 as well. And we saw what happened with that.
Wow. Eric, one of the things that I'm seeing out there, and I'm really interested in what you feel about this, is with Jimmy Garoppolo under center. Let me just preface it by saying I've been saying since Trey Lance was drafted, let him sit for the year. Jimmy is good enough to get you where you want to go. We've seen him get to the Super Bowl. He's good enough. Let him play the whole year. But I'm starting to see something here. And I think I saw it in the Eagles game. I know for sure I saw it in the Packers game. And that's that defenses, maybe like no other time before, have no respect for Jimmy Garoppolo. You look at just the initial setup. It feels like, I don't know the exact placement, but the linebackers, if in a regular situation, if they're facing Rodgers or anybody, they're 5-7 yards off the line of scrimmage. These guys are like 4 yards off the line of scrimmage with Jimmy. The safeties, if they're 12 yards off the line of scrimmage and with a somebody they respect, they're like 9-10 yards off the line of scrimmage with Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think that has a trickle-down effect to everything that the 49ers want to do, the way they can run the ball, the way they do play actions, going deep down the field. Is it as simple as they just lack the respect for Jimmy Garoppolo as a passer, and that's what's going on with how defenses are playing him right now?
Yeah, I think the 49ers kind of inability to stretch teams vertically, make it to where, like, why would you play back, right? I mean, even if you look at 2019, where the 49ers took the least amount of deep shots in the NFL, and you look at what they're doing now, I'm pretty sure it's still the least amount of deep shots in the NFL. So why would I play my guys back? I'm going to sit everybody up and try to take away what teams want to do well. That's what everybody says, right? Oh, let's wait until the next year so we can see, if teams start to catch on. And right now, defenses, more than any other time, like you said, are kind of catching on to what Jimmy Garoppolo does well, and they're working really hard to take that away. And Kyle is still trying to figure out, okay, this is what Jimmy does well. He doesn't do these other things well, but how do I still execute when everybody knows what he wants to do? So Kyle's trying to dress it up the best way he can, but right now it's just been, it's a little inconsistent. And when those throws are there to kind of throw outside the numbers and downfield, Jimmy's kind of missed them. So we'll see if he starts to improve. But right now, no, you're right. They're not respecting the vertical threat. And if you look at look at the Packers game, right? And how the 49ers had to play and what that did for the entire Packers offense.
Mm-hmm.
You knew on any, because they did it early, right? First drive, boom, throw a deep shot, slot fade. So now it's like, dang, we have to play this more honest. We have to go too high, keep a guy over top. Well, what does that do? Now you have less guys in the box. So then you have Aaron Jones having some runs where he's going untouched for 8 yards. You know, all those things kind of work together. And right now for the 49ers, that's been tough. And I think, like you said, I think it starts with teams saying, you know what, we'll try to make you beat us vertically. And if you don't even attempt it, then we're going to make life hard on you. And even then, I really want to say this real quick. 49ers still had a chance to win, regardless of all that.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, name, I want to follow up on that for just a second. This is just, I didn't play football. I didn't call games. Only thing I do is Madden, right? So it seems simple enough to me. If you're seeing it a certain way, I'm seeing it a certain way. I'm sure Kyle Shanahan and everybody else is seeing it a certain way. Why wouldn't they one time a quarter, just send Debo, Ayuk, whatever, on a 9 route just to get the safety, get it in their head? Like, look, this is the play. Go deep. Jimmy, trying to hit them deep. Make sure you overthrow them, don't underthrow them, and just get it in their head that we may go deep. Like they don't do that. Like once a half at least.
I'm with you, and I'm kind of at a loss of words with that whole thing. You got to figure out a way to kind of stretch the field a little bit more, and at least make teams just respect it. And hey, maybe they will do this because right now teams don't believe it, you know. And now Kyle Shanahan will dial up a shot, and I want to say 2019. I keep referring back to that because that was Jimmy Garoppolo's only like full season of work, but he had like the highest percentage of deep shots completed. He just didn't attempt a lot. So that was Kyle every once in a while dialing something up, and it's like, all right, you guys aren't going to respect it. At some point, I'm going to hit you vertically. Right. And that happened, but we just didn't really see it enough. Like 49ers, when we play against the Rams, we see what Deshaun Jackson's doing. We see those guys winning vertically. Like that's going to be hard to defend. If you're DeMeco Ryans, you have to defend them, and you have to be honest about how you're doing it, as opposed to playing somebody like the 49ers with Garoppolo, or even let's say like the Eagles with Jalen Hurts. He threw some vertically, but at the end of the day, we knew that's not how you're going to beat us. So what they do, they took away everything else, and for the majority of the game, they only had like 3 points.
Eric Crocker, host of the Locked On 49ers podcast, with us here. Croc, you were a DB, right? What is it when you line up and you see an offense in motion? Like, what does that say to you? Like, we were talking to Brian Baldinger earlier this week, and the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan runs like a high percentage of plays with pre-snap motion. As a defender, like what do you see when you see you hype it up already? Like, what do you see when you see that stuff?
Oh man, it's tough. Okay, so this is the part, and I'm gonna get a little nerdy here, but as a cornerback, a guy who I played at Division II school, then I went straight to the Arena Football League, then the NFL, right? So the NFL and that style of defense for me was way different than anything I had seen before. Where somebody that comes from like Alabama, D. Miller, he was a rookie when I was a rookie. He was more prepared for it. But with all the motions that they do, every time somebody motions, your responsibility kind of changes, right? And then it's tough because say we have a fire zone 3 on, right? The way I defend a bunch is in the fire zone 3 is different than how I would defend a bunch in a sky 3, man, cover 2, quarters, all those. So when you are in a specific defense, right, and whatever that defense is, and the guy motions over, and now he motions to a bunch, motions to a bunch, or he motions to a trips or whatever it is, my responsibility changes, and I have to know the difference between is this a sky or is it a fire zone? And just those slight differences changes all my responsibilities. One, I'm deep. One, I'm tight. And then I have like this, or I might have a hook. Like it just changes everything. And then it depends on how many guys are to that number, or how many guys are inside the hashes. Are you counting the back to that side? So all those motions, it really kind of messes with a defense. And that's why sometimes you see some busted plays, because if one guy is off, it'll throw off the entire defense. And as a cornerback, which really is really simple with a corner, it's like a lot of times just cover 1, 2, 3, or whatever. But once you start throwing in the motions and movements and stuff, my responsibility changes. Now I have to think more than I typically would from a down-to-down basis. And it definitely can make things a little bit more difficult. especially with the different route concepts and things that they throw at you. You know, do I carry this for how many yards? If it goes past 10 yards, do I have to pass this off? All those things that kind of go into that.
I love this. Getting educated here with my man.
For real.
Sure. Help me out on this one. We'll get you out on this. I'm kind of a one-man wolf pack right here, Eric, because I'm of the belief, while the depth isn't there, I'm not 100% confident when I talk about the 49ers secondary. I don't think they played that bad in the first 3 weeks. And even on Sunday night, they got blitzed by Aaron Rodgers in that first half. They weren't ready, or, you know, he saw something in the scheme that he took full advantage of. But as the game went along, they made it. D'Amico Ryans made just adjustments. They played better. They're not the Rams secondary, but I don't think they've been that bad. I think with Ward and Tart out there and now Emmanuel Mosley, they're okay. What are you seeing from the secondary right now from the 49ers?
No, you're not alone, Wolf, with this, man. I'm right there with you. I think that they played well. You know, you look at all these games. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles game. Outside of a play or two, it's like, well, they played extremely well. They were challenging guys consistently at the catch point. Held Devontae Smith to 2 catches for 16 yards. You know, but had a bomb, and that's what sticks out in people's mind. Look at the Packers game. There were a couple plays downfield. The shot to Valdez-Scantling, and there was like one other one, and I think people look at those that one play or this one play, and it's like, oh, see, and they look for like, what do they call it? Confirmation bias. What do they call that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah.
It's like in
You're
their
looking
head,
for the play to validate it. Yeah.
Yeah, in their head, the secondary is bad. So then they see a play happen, and it's like, see, they suck. But in my opinion, I think they've played very well. I think there are certain times where, you know, you're playing against Aaron Rodgers. He's going to have his plays. He's going to hit his plays. Man, that one play where it was Valdez-Scantling, he ran the post from the slot on the left side. Like, people just, Tart, oh, man, these safeties always get burnt. But they don't know, like, dude, that was a cover for a beater. So what they did was they had Devontae Adams come from the right side and hook up right in front of the quarter safety on that side, which was Jimmy Ward. That holds Jimmy Ward there because he has to respect Devontae Adams right there. And then from the slot with the safety outside shade, which was Tart, they had Valdez-Scantling run the post. And since that hook route held Ward up, now there's no quarter safety over there, and it put Tart on the outside shoulder. So all Valdez-Scantling had to do was run away from him, and it was going to be butt naked. Like, those are things that are just, it's really hard to defend. Like, maybe if he was somebody that ran like a 4.3, he could have possibly got back to the upfield shoulder. But for the most part, like, that's just a beater. And those are certain things that people don't understand. But they put a whole lot of blame on the secondary. You know, I think people think Aaron Rodgers threw for like 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Like, dude had 260 yards and 2 tugs. Like, that's not like lighting the world on fire. I think most people would take that. It's just when the Packers needed a play, they got the play. And I think that's the more difficult part of it. But overall, I think that the secondary has played well. It's just, you know, you don't have the big name guys and all that. But they've done good. And I think what people need to do, go watch some secondaries on other teams, and you'll see that, like, everybody gives up a play. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Unless a opposing quarterback is just trash. But 49ers are playing against Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's just tough.
Yeah.
Crocky's going to blow up and be one of the biggest insiders in like all of football. We're not going to be able to get him on anymore. One of the biggest, best analysts in the game, man. Croc, that's great stuff, bro. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for making time for us. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, bro.
Y'all. Anytime.